What is going on, everyone? Welcome in here to the Bettor Sports Betting Show on Fantasy Alarm and Bettor Sports Network YouTubes out there. Appreciate everyone jumping in on a Wednesday afternoon. Got Howard Bender with me, and I am Dan Servodidio. Oh, Howard flexing on us because he's got some picks that he wants to give out to the people. What's up, Howard?
What's going on, Servo? Nah, you know what, man? I mean, it's not so much that I have picks to give out. I mean, we're going to talk some NBA leans. You're going to give out some college basketball picks. Adam Bernard, our illustrious producer, has got some NHL. So, we're all kind of, in this boat together. I'm flexing because I just feel like the Fantasy Alarm Bettor Sports Network crew is just we're cruising. We're all having, I know I'm having a great football season. I know Impemba and Grande are on a great, and Iggy are on a great NBA season. I know you and Pete are killing it with the college sports. So I don't know, man. I'm super pumped about it because the NFL is going to kind of dwindle out, and I'm going to need to reach out for something else. And it's not just going to be about baseball futures. I need to lean on you guys for everything that you bring to the table. So I'm just psyched about the group. That's it.
Well, love that vibe, Howard. Yesterday's show. Listen, my college basketball bets went 3-1 with yesterday's show. So I think I'm seeing the college basketball landscape pretty well right now. We got college football bowl season starting up. I mean, it's I'm all into the college, but yeah, once NFL goes away, we got plenty of stuff at Fantasy Alarm and Bettor Sports Network to fill your sports needs and wagering needs every night, every day here. We got some NHL, some college basketball to get to on today's show, but got to give out some early leans and look at the slate here for NFL. We got a Saturday slate, 3-game Saturday slate. That's where we're going to start here with one of these Saturday games. This is the tightest spread. We got a few spreads that are about 2.5 on the board, but I picked this one out because it is on Saturday and also because the Colts did us dirty last week, did us both dirty. We were backing them. But your Steelers, the Steelers came through for you in that survivor pool, or your friend, I should say. But here we got the Steelers.
You can say it, Servo. It was me.
Everybody know what we were doing.
Everybody knows it was me. I even tweeted it out. I mean,
congratulations.
Thank you very, very much. It was. I tell you, can I? In all honesty, the best thing about it, because it was like the most agonizing to sit through, because the two games that I needed, wins for to make it all happen, mystically, magically delicious, was the Ravens-Rams game, which was the most agonizing thing, sitting through that and getting the punt return for the touchdown. All right. But then the Giants and the Packers, when the Packers went up, with like a minute and a half left, and it was like, hey, Tommy DeVito, you gonna bring us back? But the whole thing was because my wife didn't know about the survivor pool.
Oh.
And so she's a diehard Giants fan. So she thinks I'm like sitting here. I made Tommy cutlets. I did some chicken cutlets with some with a penne alla vodka that like Tommy likes. That's his favorite. Right. So like John and Pemba was like, yeah, I'm going to do that for dinner in support of you. And I was like, yeah, what a great idea. So I told my wife that that's what we're doing. We're just supporting Tommy DeVito and whatever. And she was like, I was like, well, Chris Kuroda and his wife Rhea, they're doing it also. And she was like, oh, okay. So as soon as I had to pull the name drop and of course call Chris and Rhea and explain to them what the lie is in case that they call, because it's a Giants game and they're all Giants fans, my wife, Chris and Rhea. So and I'm sitting there emotionless through the entire game. The punt falls off, bounces off the dude's shoulder. Saquon Barkley fumbles the touchdown with a minute and a half. And I'm like this the whole time.
Can't get high, can't get low.
I was trying to support her in that way. And then the best thing about the whole thing, I'll tell you flat out, the best thing was being able to tell my wife after she watched her Giants pull out this impossible victory with Tommy DeVito, was just like the look on her face when it eventually registered was absolutely phenomenal. So I wish that for anybody and everybody in this world. I hope you get to experience that very much. The heart attacks that I had during the games, though, I'll tell you what. And by the end of it, like before, after I told my wife about the whole thing, I was like, I gotta go. My stomach is a mess right now. Like, I mean, it was just.
I can't imagine. I mean,
Mm.
well, congrats to you, and
Thank you.
if anybody out there listened to Howard this season, you probably did pretty well in your own Survivor leagues. So, but yeah, the Tommy DeVito helped you pull it out, which is just wild how that ended. But this game, Steelers Colts. So the Steelers getting the win though over the sorry, who did the Steelers just beat? I am blanking on this right now.
No, they just lost on Thursday
they
night
lost.
to the
That's
Patriots.
what they lost
dude.
to the Patriots. Yeah, that's what they did.
All right, you ready, Servo? Here you go. 7 people into the Survivor pool going into this week, right? Somebody requested a chop. Many of us agreed. One person did not. That person took the Steelers against the New England Patriots. So 3 Steelers, 2 Texans, 1 Ravens, and 1 Packers, and only the Ravens survived.
Man, if you decline the chop and then see the Steelers lose outright.
How would you feel about that, right? I mean, to 3x, to 30x your investment, right? I mean, why wouldn't you do that? Like somebody said chop, and I was like, you know what, dude? It's like it's the freaking holidays. What, do I really want to take that chance right now? I'd rather have $3,000, $4,000 in my pocket than nothing.
That person was so confident that the Steelers would win that game.
I guess.
Well, the Steelers did not, and here they are, road underdogs at the Colts here. And yeah, I mentioned you and me were both back in the Colts last week. Lost to the Bengals in that game, but I think they're going to be. I like them, and our early lean is to take them to win and cover here. Just looking to bounce back after that loss last week, because it's still Trubisky and the Steelers. I mean, I just really struggle to back Trubisky, a Trubisky-led Pittsburgh offense at this point. They're begging for Pickett to be back. I mean, I guess next week, but it won't be in this game. The thing I'm looking for in this is that, we talked about last week how the Colts run defense is one of their strengths, especially getting Grover Stewart back in the middle. And it didn't really work for them last week against the Bengals, but I think in this
it's
matchup,
not a great, like, even with Grover Stewart, it's really not that great of a run D. I've been targeting against them and with running backs in DFS all season long. Grover Stewart being out just made an even bigger smash spot, for that, which is why we see the impact on like losing a guy like Grover Stewart. But dude, I still like Najee Harris in this game. Crazy, huh?
Okay, so that's what I was going to say, was that if they can kind of limit Harris, and what Harris is banged up, I don't know exactly his status, but if they can just kind of limit the Steelers' run game, it's just putting more pressure on Trubisky, which makes me worried for the Steelers here on the road. So would lean Colts here. I don't know. What about you?
I'm actually, I'm leaning Colts here for sure. I mean, listen, the funny thing is that like you could use that narrative, of like, well, everybody's down on the Steelers and Trubisky looked so bad. So of course, you're not going to take them. You're going to take the Colts to lay 2.5 points. But you know what? The Colts didn't have, they looked terrible against Cincinnati. Like once that Chase Brown touchdown happened, I mean, it was over for the Colts. It was crazy. It was like that one play, they just couldn't recover from that. It was like, so, I think that, when we look at that situation there, that's why I'm like, I mean, the Colts look just as bad. So if I'm going to look at this one here, I'm definitely going to take the home team. I'm going to lay the points.
Yeah. The Colts are one of those teams that just, they need to play either with a lead or just in a tight game. Like when they get behind, like they did last week against the Bengals, it's just putting too much pressure on Gardner Minshew to make plays downfield, and it cost them. So
100% agree.
I think in this game, if they get out to a lead and can hold that throughout, then I would lean the Colts here and feel good about it. But kind of iffy, kind of going either way. Whether if they get behind against the Steelers defense, that's also a worry. So, all right, how about the biggest spread on Sunday's slate is the 49ers on the road at the Cardinals. 13.5 is the spread here. 48 is the total. Cardinals coming off a bye week here. 49ers coming off of 5 straight double-digit wins in the tough part of their schedule, too. Eagles, Jaguars, twice against the Seahawks in this stretch. I got to say, I'm scared of the spread. I'm scared of the 49ers, but I'm taking the points here with the Cardinals.
No.
No, I know, but listen.
No. I mean, for me, it's a no bet. But
okay,
go. You say why you're going to at least take the Cardinals because I mean we've seen teams blow out teams this year like hardcore, and the Niners are one of those teams that is blown. I mean, you're probably a little gun shy, right? You're flinching because of what they did to your Eagles. I totally get that. I totally get that.
I'm definitely scarred from what they did to the Eagles.
But like a double-digit point spread, division game, Kyler Murray, a little bit of a wild card, backdoor cover, like that kind of aspect could happen there as well. Either way could happen just as easily in my mind, which is why I say it's a no bet for me. I'll say this: I do like the over in this game for sure.
Okay, so over 48, you like there. Oh yeah, listen, I would probably lean the over too, but I think on Friday's show we're gonna give out picks. I'm gonna have to talk myself out of taking the Cardinals because I might be locking them in. Because the main thing here for me is that I think Arizona's offense with Kyler Murray is just we got to respect it a little bit more. I know that the 49ers defense is this juggernaut; they can blow out teams, really shut down teams, but this is like one of those weird schedule look ahead spots for 49ers. And maybe they're, it's always, hard for whether you're backing picks or giving out picks to like basically doubt a team's motivation or doubt that they're going to come out and, maybe look past the team. But I actually think there's a chance that it happens here because I mentioned they just got through this tough schedule coming off that big, 2 division wins against the Seahawks in the past 3 weeks. That game against the Eagles, the Jaguars, they beat up. Next week, though, Monday Night Football, they're playing the Baltimore Ravens. It's a huge game for them. Again, this is kind of one of those things that's just slotting right in the middle of all these tough games, and it's on the road at Arizona. We saw the Cowboys lose on the road at Arizona earlier this year. And with Murray back these past 4 games, Cardinals are 3-1 against the spread. So, they're just one of those teams I think, obviously, that their record and how bad they are, I'm not surprised that the big spread like this, but also just, the betting public, fading them. But they've been a little feisty here. So I'd probably lean Cardinals here, and I'm scared of it.
I would be scared of it. As you were sitting there talking, I was just kind of like I was absorbing your words. I was absorbing analysis that I have done. I've been doing some research and some work today, obviously looking at it from a DFS standpoint and the watch list over there. And yet, here you go, Servo. Doesn't this game give you like 38-24 kind of vibes? Like I think Kyler Murray and the offense definitely takes a step forward. And obviously you have to give it some respect, which is why I'm, at least looking at the over here, because there's no way this Arizona defense can stop San Francisco. Like San Francisco would have to shoot themselves in the foot over and over and over again in order for them to not be able to score at will on Arizona. Can Arizona turn it up? And if I'm thinking like 24, 26 points for, Arizona, because it is Kyler Murray and he does have weapons and there are some holes in that San Francisco secondary for sure. Right. So Greg Dortch and Marquise Brown, if Michael Wilson's healthy, they've got really good potential there. But I mean, is it more than 3 touchdown potential? Because there's no way that Arizona is going to hold back San Francisco. That's why I kind of get like that 38-24 vibe, which is like, just under the cut there. And maybe buy yourself a half a point there so you make it 14.
I was literally just going to say that. I was going to say, if it's going to be 38-24, then I'm going Cardinals plus the 14 then.
Right? Pay the extra juice for the half point.
I'd rather get the push than deal with the loss there. I mean, you're right, though. You're right. I don't see the Cardinals defense really doing much to stop this 49ers.
Oh, my God. Right? I'm loading up on player props for the 49ers. It's like, yes,
Yeah.
McCaffrey over, Ayuk over, Debo over, Kittle over, Brock Purdy over.
Well, we'll see on Friday how many props you actually give out for this game. I'll
You'll
be
get
interested.
one. You'll only get one. I promise you, you'll get one. You will not get more than that because
Okay.
I'm not going to tempt anybody into the old same game parlay.
Well, maybe a touchdown call from the game. How about that? All right. Luke Costello. Yeah, McCaffrey.
for minus 380. I'll take a McCaffrey anytime touch.
Minus 340 or something. A couple people chiming in here on YouTube. Thanks for watching, guys. Luke Costello, Robert Flores. What's up, guys? Yeah, we're trying to break this down to have another successful weekend. Last week, I think both of our picks weren't great, but at least, I took away from the weekend. I gave out the over. 26.5 was the line I got in the Army-Navy game. And real quick on this, did you see how that game ended? Did you see what happened in that game, Howard?
With which game?
Army-Navy.
No. Why? So I could watch a triple option go up against the quadruple option?
It's a classic college football game, man.
That's a nap is what it is.
It's a great watch. But anyway, the game was it was a 17-9 lead for Army, and Navy gets the ball. They go down to try to score. They're only down 8, so they would need a touchdown and 2-point conversion, but they get stopped at the goal line, like basically the second to last play of the game there. And then what Army does in the next play is take the intentional safety to kind of just run out the clock, but the 2 points wouldn't matter. They would still win. They won by 6 points anyway. So they took the intentional safety, but those 2 points is what got the game over. Depending on what line you got, it was 27.5. It was 28 at one point, but it was 28 points exactly, and it was the over for me at 26.5. So I'll take that because it wasn't over before that 2-point conversion. So just crazy ending there.
It's insane. I mean, it's like you legit have to like be impressed with Vegas when some of these spreads finish up and you get these like weird things like a safety completely ruins it, or the guy runs downfield and then slides at the 1 and doesn't go into the end zone because he just wants to run out the clock and they don't want to have to give the ball back. Just and Vegas, just whatever reason, man, they're just so on it. It's crazy.
They really are. Luke Costello here in the chat. I got a question for you, Howard. Did Tony quick check with the official change your feelings at all? I'm still indifferent and just want the Chiefs to take more accountability.
Luke, I got to tell you, I meant to go back and like really study that footage, but I didn't. I will. I'll tell you what, tomorrow on Getting Buzzed, I am going to be talking about Chiefs Kingdom and talking about this entire thing with Kadarius Toney. So I will have the video on hand, and I will be studying it intently. So Getting Buzzed with me, Howard Bender, on the Fantasy Alarm YouTube page at 1 p.m. Eastern. Special guest is Lauren Carpenter from FTN. So fun stuff there. We'll have to
Speaking of that Chiefs-Bills game, our next game here to preview for the weekend is Bills-Cowboys. Both these teams coming off big wins. Obviously, Bills over Chiefs, but the Cowboys taking care of the Eagles. And we got the Bills as 2.5-point favorites here at home. 50.5 is the over-under. I don't know where to go with the spread here. I would lean the over, though. I do think this is going to be one of those higher scoring games. I took the over last week with Bills Chiefs, and it didn't ultimately cash. But I do think the way the Bills want to, it was more on the Chiefs side of things why that game didn't go over. But I think the Bills, I have confidence in them at home here. And the Cowboys defense, the Eagles weren't great last week, but they still drove the ball down, and it was really like turnovers, especially, down in the Cowboys side of the field that really, made a difference. But the Eagles were driving the ball, and I feel like both sides were going to see plenty of points here. I'm not surprised at this total being at 50.5, but I still think we could hit the over here. What about you? What do you think about this game?
Yeah, I hate the point spread. I mean, it's all the point spread is all because of listen, Dallas is 7-0 at home. They're 6-1 against the spread at home. It's all about Dallas at home. And so that's why, like, the Bills, as great as Dallas has looked, the Bills are still favored in this one because home teams usually get 3 points. So Here you go. They're showing you that it's this close. The funny thing for me, I'm looking at this right now. It looks like there might be some rain in the forecast in Buffalo on Sunday. So something that you need to kind of pay attention to is, say, PM showers, and it is an afternoon game. That's the other thing that I find interesting, is that it's on the 4 p.m. slate for the East Coast in Buffalo. So it gets colder and it gets darker earlier, and we look at it like that. I'll say this. I won't bet this game with the spread, but I will likely take the Bills on the money line in this game. If I bet with the spread, I'm going to take the Cowboys, but I'll bet the Bills on the money line for this one, because I do think they win, and it could be like a late Tyler Bass kind of a field goal that gives them like a 1-point lead or something like that. So.
And the money line isn't too bad either. Like on BetMGM, -135. That's still, a pretty good odds there.
Oh, is it -135? Shit, I looked like 20 minutes ago, and it was -120.
Oh, people are just right ahead of you there on the betting the
They're
Bills.
in my head. They're in my head.
But I mean, shop around and get the best number, right? It might be -120 elsewhere. So.
Now that it's -135 so quickly, now I'm kind of just going to take Dallas in the points.
How quick you change your mind there? I'll just take the over and not worry about who wins. How about that?
There you go. That'll work too.
But again, last week, this is what we did, because I was on your side. I thought the Chiefs would win that game against the Bills, and I just took the over, not worrying about who would win. And both our bets lost. So we'll see.
Well, goodness gracious. I sure hope it doesn't end up like a 26-24 game.
Oh, well, the rain in the forecast is, it could be, I think that might help the over. You'd think maybe it's like a sloppier game, but the other side of that is that, like, defenders are slipping a little bit, maybe gives an advantage to the offense. The offensive players, especially knowing when they're cutting and making plays and game planning against that. So, we'll definitely dive into this more before Friday's show when we give out our bets.
Cool.
All right. How about the next game we'll break down here is the lowest total for this weekend. It's Falcons Panthers. 35 is the over under. Falcons are 3-point favorites on the road here. I honestly, I dove into this a little bit, and I have no idea where to go on the spread here or with the total, because I can make an argument for both. I like the fact that the Panthers are coming off the bye week, and they're, even though they've been bad, I feel like there's positive regression coming with them with covering spreads, because I think they've covered one spread all season. So I feel like at some point they're going to start covering some of these. So as a home underdog, you're shaking your head at me, but I feel like at some point, because when I look at the Falcons side, they are 3-6 against the spread as favorites this year, and they're just 2-4 against the spread on the road. This has been a thing with Desmond Ridder. He's had his struggles on the road, but I also, it's so hard to back and bet on the Panthers even when they're at home. So I don't know where to go.
I feel like the Panthers offense is still relatively on the inept side. They don't know what they want to do. They really don't. Falcons do have a good defense. They really do. They've got, decent corners, and I'm fine with them. This to me looks like, this is where Arthur Smith just says, you know what, I'm just going to run the ball 72 times this game. Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier. It's the easiest playbook here against the Panthers. They got Jeremy Chin back. They got J.C. Horn back. So their secondary is much improved. So this should revert back to what we saw in the beginning of the season, right? Where, they weren't utilizing Bijan Robinson the way they should, but in week 1, he had like 10 carries for 56 yards. He also had 6 catches for 27 yards and a touchdown. And so I look at that and I'm like, okay, now we're going to utilize Bijan even more here. Definitely, pound the ground game here. I'm leaning here, Falcons laying the points, and I'm leaning on the under because I do think this could be like a 24-6 kind of a game. Like I don't really, I just don't love this Panthers team. Bye week or not, they're still in complete disarray with with their changing over the whole coaching staff and looking for an identity.
I was actually wrong about the bye week. I was looking at a different team. They're not coming off their bye. They played the Saints last week. Their bye week was back in week 7. But either way, I do think that the under is definitely a lean here, and I would probably bet that. Stay away from the spread and just rather look at the total and go under. Looking actually at trends for both these teams, by the way. Panthers are 6-1 to the under in their past 7 games. Falcons are 7-4 to the under in their past 11 games. So both these trends pointing to a lower scoring game. In the NFC South in general, if you look at like division, totals this year, that division, NFC South, has been, I think most of their games have gone under more often than not. So just kind of, especially we get 2 meeting up here, probably would lean to the under. How about another NFC South team? This is the bonus game I'll throw in here because we talked about it earlier, but I was going to throw this in because the Packers, Buccaneers Packers, and the Packers losing gave you that Survivor win. So just wanted another shout out to Howard Bender for winning his Survivor League. But Buccaneers Packers here, 3.5 is the spread for the Packers at home. 41.5 is the total here. Any thoughts on this one?
I don't really have any thoughts on this one. My lean initially here is going to be Green Bay. I need to see what the weather's going to be like coming off of this game against the Giants. I'm sure people are back down again on Jordan Love and what happened to them. Tampa Bay, I mean, they can be a solid team. Rachaad White will probably have himself a great game against the Packers. I don't know. If Jair Alexander kind of shadows Mike Evans, that usually becomes a little bit problematic for the for Baker Mayfield. He relies pretty heavily on him. So I don't know. I mean, I'm on the fence on this one, but my lean would probably be the Packers at home. I don't like that half point in there. I want to see some line move, maybe a little bit. Let me just show me a little bit of line movement. Maybe I might be into that.
Yeah. And the money line for that is -175. So not great on the Packers side. I'm with you though on leaning Packers here. I do think, like the vibes, this is like a nice buy low spot because of the vibes and maybe the market is a little down on the Packers after losing that game to the Giants, but I think it's a nice spot, going back at home to buy low a little bit on them. And also kind of like a sell high for the Bucs coming off of their win last week against the Falcons. It was like, it was basically a big win for the NFC South division. I mean, these teams in the NFC South still have a losing record, but if you're talking about like division winner, that was a big win for them to get over the Falcons to pull a little bit ahead. So, kind of like maybe a little letdown for the Bucs with that in mind, and little buy low on the Packers. So yeah, I'll be waiting to see if this spread, if you could buy the half a point to get the -3 if you want, I guess, with the Packers, but we'll see if there is any line movement on this come Friday or for Sunday once we get the games here. So we'll be interested to monitor that one. Any other games this weekend that you wanted to give out any thoughts on before we move on here?
What was I looking at? I was looking at some, which line did I find? Oh, I think it was the Saturday game. It was Denver, Detroit. I think that's what it was. Yeah, Denver,
Saturday
Detroit.
night.
It's a 5.5 point spread, right? Oh, now it's down to 4. So it's Lions +4. It was 5.5 yesterday. Right. And I was wondering about it because I don't know. My feeling about this is that the Lions need a get-right game. They need to, like, establish themselves. Everybody's super in on Denver and all the improvements that they've made, and everybody's down on Jared Goff and, what he didn't do this last game against the Bears. And, and I looked at it and I was like, man, people are going to be all over the Broncos plus 5.5. I said my lean, because I find that suspicious that they're so, like that Vegas is like making it so obvious that like take the Broncos. That I think that my lean was the Lions and lay the 5.5. Now I see it's down at -4. And I'm like, okay, I'm still in on the Lions here, 100%. It's not I would have preferred to have gotten the Lions -5.5. No, not really. I'll take the discount.
yeah. Take the discounted
I'll
spread
keep
there.
taking this discount. I think it's crazy that that it's down at 4 already. Everybody must have been hammering the Broncos plus the points, hammering them.
Well, yeah, I'm looking at on BetMGM, the 54% of the money on the spread has come in on Denver. So I guess, like, to your point though, the people, the general public have gone in on the spread early in the week here, but who knows? You and the sharps could be laying the money with the Lions here, and then the spread kind of moves back in their favor a little bit. So -4 might be kind of the buy low spot there, and maybe it goes back up to 5 or 5.5. Who knows?
Yeah, I listen. I think if you believe in the Lions and their rebound, and I do, because I don't think Denver's defense is really all that great. I think, again, they've made improvements, 100%, but this just seemed a little suspicious for me.
All right. I would look at the over in that game possibly, because the Lions defense has not been great either lately. And it's just, maybe you don't trust the Broncos on the road as much, but the Lions have been playing in these higher scoring games left and right because their defense has been questionable. But I do like the Lions at home here to bounce back. I like your call on that, because they are, like, Goff is clearly much better, more comfortable at home in the dome. And I think their offense will be a lot more polished in this game. All right, so that's week 15 early leans for Saturday and Sunday's games. Friday's show, me and Howard will be giving out our best bets, props, touchdown predictions, and all that for all this weekend's games. So stay tuned for that one. Let's look at some. I got some college basketball picks here, because I went 3-1 yesterday with my picks on yesterday's show.
Nice.
So I'm feeling pretty good. And I got 4 more picks tonight because I see some value on the board here. So let me just dive into the first one here, Howard. I got Arkansas State plus 3.5 on the road against Louisville. So Louisville, for people that follow college basketball, you realize how much of a dumpster fire this team has been, going back all the way, all of last year, but this year too. It hasn't. I know they've played a little bit better this year, but it's still a rough team with Kenny Payne there, just kind of struggling as the head coach. And going back to last year, and it's happened this year too. Louisville has struggled with inferior opponents. They were not great, against the spread as favorites last year, and now this year they're 1-4 against the spread as favorites. 0-4 against the spread as a single-digit favorite is Louisville this year. So this has been kind of one of the auto fades for me. Is whoever they're playing, and then Arkansas State is not a great team, but I think there's a reason this spread is this tight, because I do think there's a legit chance Arkansas State wins this game outright. So I'll gladly take the 3.5 here. They're also it's not like a slouch mid-major team, Arkansas State. They're a dangerous underdog because they play fast and they shoot a ton of threes, which is just like a ripe recipe to pull off an upset, even on the road. If they start making these threes and they're playing quick, Louisville could find itself down and struggle to really make it up, let alone cover, but win the game. So, and Arkansas State has faced some top-tier power conference competition this season. They've already played Alabama, Iowa, and Wisconsin, and they went 2-1 against the spread in those 3 games as underdogs. So this matchup against Louisville is much easier than those teams I mentioned. So it's not, it's a spot where they're not going to back down. And even though it's on the road, the home crowds at Louisville have been very weak because the team was terrible last year and they're not good again. It's not like a raucous, road environment at a power conference team. It's a lot easier of a spot than you might think. So yeah, give me Arkansas State here.
Cool. What's next?
All right, next one, going with a favorite now. Liberty at home against Tennessee State. Kind of a random one, but Liberty at home has just been a spot where I'm looking to bet them. Going back the last couple of years, but especially last year, it's just been a really good home favorite, especially. But just a home team against the spread has Liberty welcoming teams into their stadium in Virginia. And last year they went 12-2 against the spread at home. This year they're already 2-1 against the spread at home. They're 6-3 against the number overall. They've also played 6 of their last 9 games on the road, and this is their 3rd straight home game. So they're comfortable at home now, and I think this is a spot where they win big because they're coming off a tough loss, close loss to a good Grand Canyon team last game at home. But I think that's going to have them motivated to bounce back and get, a comfortable, just kind of blowout win against a much weaker Tennessee State team. Liberty has also lost 3 of their last 4 games, but they've all been to good mid-major squads like Florida Atlantic, Charleston, and Grand Canyon. But this year, Tennessee State is definitely not on par with these teams. There's a reason the spread is big, and I think Liberty rolls here. Tennessee State they're only 2-5 against the spread this year. Their only matchup that's even comparable to Liberty was when they played at Oregon and lost by 25 and failed to cover the spread. So I think Liberty rolls here, and I'm not scared of the big spread here.
Okay.
All
right.
Another one here. Give me the over in Creighton UNLV. I think this is going to be a quick-paced, high-scoring game. Should be a fun non-conference game. This is played in Las Vegas here for this one. Technically a neutral court, but I guess on the road for Creighton with UNLV playing in their home city. But Creighton comes in with the 12th best offensive efficiency in the country. They're one of the best offenses in college basketball. They shoot lights out from 3, 40% three-point rate this year. Also very efficient inside scoring with the stud center Ryan Kalkbrenner. I think I don't worry about them offensively. Even, on the road here, technically, I expect them to score 80 to 90 points. They're averaging 91 points per game in their wins this year, are Creighton. So I'm not afraid of that part. It's just a matter of UNLV doing their part to hit this over. But they're 6-1 to the over this year is UNLV. They're averaging 73 points per game themselves. And they've also hit 5 straight overs in their games. The big spot here is that it's a really notable situational spot for Creighton. They have a big home matchup against Alabama coming up on Saturday. Alabama plays fast, and they shoot a ton of threes. I can see Creighton just really, looking towards that game with 2 things in mind. One is getting ready for that while trying to play fast in this game because they like usually playing a little slower, but they need to keep pace with Alabama come Saturday. So I feel like this game is kind of like a tune-up to really get going and try to push the pace more offensively, which helps the over. But also, it's kind of a look-ahead spot where they might be looking past a little defensively against UNLV, taking some possessions off. So, the spread here is at 13.5. I looked at UNLV to cover here, but just looking at the over in general because I think Creighton will score plenty. I just worry sometimes about UNLV hanging through, but I think they're going to score a lot here too with just the way the game might flow.
I wish I knew more about college basketball to add some input there, sir. I'm just taking notes.
Yeah, just take notes. All right, last one here real quick. This is just so last night I actually bet this Santa Clara +4 was the spread. And I bet that because I just thought, honestly, that Santa Clara could win this game outright. And now it's gone down to -1.5 is the spread here for Utah State. And so I'm just giving out Santa Clara money line now. But whatever number you could get it at, the better. But I just really think Santa Clara is going to win this game. Utah State they've played 2 road games this year. They're 0-2 against the spread. One of them was an overtime loss. One of them was a squeaker of a win over a bad St. Louis team. So they've yet to prove it on the road, which I think is notable for a team from Utah who has been rolling against teams when they're at home, but they haven't yet proved it on the road. Now they have to go to California here in against a very strong mid-major team in Santa Clara who has a good home environment there. And this is also the first road game for Utah State in 2 weeks. So it's a tough spot here for Utah State, in my opinion. The big factor here, though, that has me pointing towards Santa Clara is that the Utah State allows the majority of its points from inside. They struggle to defend the three, teams struggle from three, but they allow a lot of points inside. And Santa Clara has 2 7-footers. I think they're going to limit Utah State's best player, who's their stud big man, Great Osabor. And I think that they're going to be much better defensively inside than Utah State on both ends of the floor. I think they really control the paint on both ends, which just has me really pointing towards Santa Clara in this one, which is a team that also likes to push the pace a little bit, which is not something Utah State is comfortable with. So I could see them getting down a little bit, and I think there's definite value taking Santa Clara here, plus 105 on BetMGM to win on the money line.
All right, I can dig it. Money line for Santa Clara, the over in Creighton UNLV. You're laying the points for Liberty, minus 14.5, and Arkansas State over Louisville. Take the 3.5 points. I absolutely love that, Servo. I do. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to call my guy. I'm going to be like, Servo was 3-1 yesterday. Let's lay some action here. When I go and call my guy, let's bring in Adam Bernard and let him talk some hockey with you. And I can go lay some action here on some college basketball because, again, I have nothing to offer you for college basketball analysis, and I have even less to offer about hockey.
You have less to offer about hockey. Wow.
You want to talk football with me? I'll talk football all day long. You know that. But
we still got time for it before March Madness. You can break open the college basketball research and get going.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you're doing your write-ups again with dark horses and fun stuff like that, I am in on that. In the meantime, let's bring in Adam Bernard. I just want to see that handsome son of a bitch right there.
Thank you.
I will say, gentlemen, thank you so much for having me here today. It's always been always a pleasure to get a chance to talk with both of you. But yeah, get to some hockey, get rid of Bender.
All right, later, Howard. Adam, what do you got for hockey here? What's your first pick here?
All right, so it's a 5-game night. Didn't think I'd have 3 picks, but here we are. And a little extra pressure tonight because the wife is in Vegas to see the Garth Brooks residency. So not only am I placing these bets, but I'm telling her to place these bets. So maybe they can make some money while they're there. So a little extra pressure tonight.
Okay. Gotta be right. Gotta be right.
Got to be right here. Let's start first with let's go north of the border here. Let's go Penguins, Montreal. The Penguins are on a back-to-back, but this is it's a soft spot in the schedule for them. They've had a tough stretch of opponents, but last night and tonight they get a little bit of a break. They beat Arizona last night. Tonight with Montreal not really being that good of a team. Alex Nedeljkovic is getting the start tonight for Pittsburgh. He's at a 2.18 goals against and a .937 save percentage in 5 starts this season. Montreal's lost 4 of their last 6, averaging just 2 goals per game during that stretch, and are allowing over 3 goals per game during that same period. With fresh legs, I would even look at the Penguins on the puck line, but we're still getting plus money on a regulation win for the Penguins. So let's take them plus 110 at BetMGM.
All right, yeah, to win in regulation over the puck line. All right. Islanders and Ducks, you got a bet here.
Yeah, I do like the regulation bets. If there's a bet on the money line that's too juiced, you can always look at regulation because you can't predict overtime anyway, really. So yeah, so that's a nice little way around that. Now, speaking of puck lines, the Islanders are hosting the Ducks tonight. Anaheim's just terrible lately. Lost 3 in a row and 11 of the last 12. They're without 3 of their top players, so there's good reason for it. But nonetheless, they're still without them, and they're still losing a lot. They rank 28th in goals per game. Now, the Islanders are not a team I normally look at on the puck line because they tend to play teams close, but they are on a 3-game winning streak. They've got some momentum. They had the blowout win over Columbus and then tight victories over the Kings and Leafs. Simeon Varlamov is going for the Islanders tonight. He's on a personal 3-game winning streak and has some good numbers this season as well. So I think this is a great tee-off spot for the Islanders with the Bruins next on tap. So plus money at 130 to beat the Ducks by 2 goals. All you need is an empty net goal at the end there. So I'll take my chances there.
All right. Yeah. Minus 190 or so on the money line. So definitely go with the puck line there, right?
Yeah, sure. I think, listen, you got an Islanders team that's, beat a couple of really good teams lately. And, they teed off on a bad team before that. Same goaltenders going from that game. So a lot of reasons to think that they could have a big win tonight. So we'll say they're going to continue to roll here.
And then their last one here, Winnipeg and LA.
So the Kings are tops in goals allowed this season, and the good way, only allowing 2.32 goals per game. Winnipeg's at 7th with 2.63. So you got 2 teams in the top 10 that are very good at keeping the other team off the scoreboard. Winnipeg's on the second night of a back-to-back, but they're playing their better goaltender tonight in Connor Hellebuck. It's clear out that, if they can only put up 1 goal on the Sharks, they're missing Kyle Connor pretty badly. So we can't really rely on them to score. The Kings are making a 1-game stop at home after a 4-game road trip. Hellebuck also only allowing about 2 goals per game over his last 5. And the Kings, they can put the puck in the net, but they've been struggling to do so lately. And they also have Cam Talbot going, who's posted a 191 goals against and a 931 save percentage. So basically, you got 2 really good goaltenders who are playing well right now, going against each other with 2 teams that like to play defense. So under 6 minus 120, I think, is a good way to go. If you wanted to do a single game parlay with the Kings on the money line, because the Kings are getting Winnipeg maybe back-to-back without their top scorer, you could do that as well. But I think they were like minus 190 on the money line, so obviously a little too juiced there.
What was the bet you gave out last night with Winnipeg? I forget.
So it was thought they would cover against San Jose, but that was the first game. I underestimated how much they would miss Kyle Connor. So here they are 2 nights in a row without their guy, and he's going to be out for, I believe, 6 to 8 weeks. So they're going to be looking at them on the under a lot here for the next month or so.
Well, yeah, and so I was looking because last night they lost 2-1 to San Jose. So that would have finished under this, obviously. So you're just kind of rolling with the unders now with the Winnipeg.
Yeah.
By the way, yesterday you gave out the over, I think, in the Blackhawks Oilers, not Orioles.
I would watch that too. Yeah, Chicago got that first goal early from Bedard, and the first period it looked like it was going to be real good, and then they just kind of.
I was going to say it was 2-1 after the first period, and I was like, all right, this is the over is hitting here. Like if this is how this game's going to go, but there was only 2 more goals the rest of the game, and it did not go over.
It did not go over. It did had such promise. It really, really did.
Yeah, that's a tough. I was looking at that one, watching it a little bit because I listened to you, put the bet in. So again, you got Winnipeg, LA under, you got the Islanders on the puck line, and you got the Penguins to win in regulation. That's what
I'm looking at tonight. So good luck in Vegas to my wife, and hopefully she's cashing some tickets later.
Hopefully you're going 3-0. I love it.
Yeah.
All right, that's about it for us. Coming up right after this show here on Fantasy Alarm and Bettor Sports Network YouTubes, we got the Fantasy Alarm NBA DFS live show with John and Pemba and James Grande. If you want to get some NBA thoughts, no NBA bets on this show today, but definitely listen and watch that show for daily fantasy. And I'm sure they got thoughts on some props for tonight as well. And then tonight, the Bettorcast at 7 p.m. Eastern is college football trivia with Moose and Keith. So go download the Bettorcast app and check that out, play in the contest, win some awesome stuff with the Bettorcast. That's about it for us on today's show. Tomorrow, we'll be giving out some Thursday night football bets. I know I got a couple college football bowl games to break down and give out some bets for, some NBA with James Grande. So stay tuned for all of that. Appreciate everyone tuning in and watching today, and we'll see you guys later.
Bettor Sports Betting on the